Yo,
I'm ignoring you
why?
because you're fucking late.
I'm not
Dude,
late, dude. I
nice
was
hat. Oh my gosh, dude. Bro, I
look.
can't wait to not promote that on the Instagram.
In due
Oh,
time, my friend, once we get a full stock and supply of them, because these are the prototypes for the co-host and the host.
je co-host in the host.
So that's you and me. And
It's me
yeah,
and
they're
you.
they're actually super nice. Very lightweight, very beautiful logo, just perfectly
Dude,
on top.
let me
Like
see what it looks like backwards. You know, I'm a backwards hat guy.
yeah, let's see.
Oh, dude, that's tight. Oh, it's got the Velcro strap. Good, because you know I'm gonna have to adjust that to fit my giant ass head.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, for sure. Yeah, I kind of like it backwards too, actually. Yeah,
Oh,
good
I'm a
call.
backwards hat enthusiast. Like that's been my go-to for like forever and ever and ever and ever. You know how it is. But anyway, man. Woo! Happy Friday, Holden. Dude, glad you could make it. I know you've been busy this week doing work, putting in work, you know.
Yes, I have. You are correct. It's been a busy week. And shoot, dude, the season's over, bro. I don't know my season's over. My season's over.
Dude, yeah, that's kind of tough. That's kind of tough to like even hear, to even think about. I'm sad. I'm sad. What a season it was. Did you have a favorite victory? Did you
It's
have a
gotta be
favorite?
it's gotta be well, so here's the thing. The one that probably made me lose my like the one that I probably like lost it the most on was probably like I'd probably say the Raiders game because that was that game where it's like you needed to have it so bad to get back to 500. Then obviously like after the bye week, the Tampa Bay game, like it's kind of hard to beating the Bucks, but I'll probably go with Tampa because that one I don't think anybody gave us a shot in that one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That was a good one. That was like peak Washington right there, honestly.
Raiders was up there because the
Mm-hmm.
Raiders was the last one before really our demise. Like that was before like we actually just crashed and burned. But so that one's up there too. It was a two playoff hungry teams trying to fight, and we ended up. And then you look at the Raiders now, and they're in the playoffs. I'm like, dang, like those were two solid wins with looking at those teams in the playoffs now. So what about you, man? Like, what are your favorite Bills wins this year? Besides probably the one that you went to, but
That's
that one
right,
wasn't.
baby. Dude, I'm trying to think. I want to say it was like probably earlier in the season when we beat Kansas City in Kansas City. Like that was a real statement win, and like that, like especially Josh Allen hurdling, like that was just sick, just playing a really good game. And I'm probably gonna say our last New England win. Like that was a statement win because we were on a little bit of like a back and forth streak, and just like especially just the way that like Isaiah McKenzie played in place of Cole Beasley. Like he was the difference maker that game, and like Patriots had no answer for him all game. So those are my two. Was there any team that stuck out to you this season that was disappointed you, impressed you, because I know like, and let's just, I guess we'll talk, yeah, whatever team, whether they've been eliminated or not. Like,
I mean, I guess a team that I was kind of high on that missed the playoffs was the Colts. That
dude, what?
like for them to lose the way they did to that Jackson. And I mean, I think we talked about it last week too, where we kind of were like, is there any way? And we were like, I mean, yes, because it's the NFL, but realistically, like, no, there's no way.
Mhm.
And Jags got it done, pulled spoiler. And I mean, I haven't watched the Hard Knocks yet for, I guess it was this past week. I haven't watched that final episode yet, but I do want to catch like what the morale was of the team in the locker room and stuff, because that's got to be a bummer to just be like, all you got to do is win. It's the Jaguars.
Dude, literally winning in against like what, like arguably the worst team in football. Like,
I mean, it is the worst team. I mean, they back to back
first round picks, right?
Yeah, that's
Hey, if
kind
you're
of
a Jags
wild.
fan, good for y'all. Because like going off on that high note when you're like not a playoff team is good. Because like you're hoping you can carry that momentum forward, or like we weren't total garbage, like that kind of deal.
Well, it's big for Jags fans too, because it's like not only do they win, they keep their division rival out of the playoffs, but they maintain that first overall pick. Which, if you're that like high of a pick, I think you are rooting for the number one pick when you are that close. When you're like one, two, three, you're rooting for the highest pick. When you're in my boat, when people are like, are we rooting for a higher draft pick? I'm like, I don't care if we pick 11, or I don't care if we pick 7, or I don't care if we pick 13, all of those don't matter because if you really somebody, you'll trade to get them.
Yeah.
But 1, 2, and 3, you're going all in for like the one player that's going to hopefully change your organization. Which
like arguably the best player of that draft class.
The best player of that draft class. Yeah.
Like that Chase Young, I don't know, like going even further back, like that Mario Williams type of guy, like, like just like, or Andrew Luck even,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like just like that fucking dude. I don't know. But I guess other teams that we're not partially biased towards that stuck out to me just the season as a whole. I think like a big letdown. I'd say biggest letdown was probably either the Seahawks or there was another team I was just looking at that I was like, wow, that was a letdown. Like they were supposed to be a lot better. The Chargers. I thought the Chargers, like especially beginning of the season, was like, dang, they could usurp. Hopefully I'm using that word right. Words are tough. The Kansas City Chiefs, and like they really it really looked like an unfinished product, like explosive at times, great at times, but just like arguably the most inconsistent team. I'd say a team that surprised me the most. I'm going to put Cincinnati. I think like we all thought Joe Burrow was going to bounce back hard, but like he obviously had a tough injury. I don't think we saw Jamar Chase being as good as he is. And like, that's huge. That looks like a tandem that's just going to be running like the AFC for a long time. And just real quick before we go back to you, I think the Browns was a disappointment too. I think like this was their year that everyone said like, yo, this is just going to be it. Like, and it just, even up until the last possible 2 weeks, it was like, dang, y'all can't even do what you did last year and just make the playoffs.
Yep. There was a big step backwards for the Browns. Another team that I hate to say, but it is what it is. Eagles, bro. I mean, Eagles finding a way to go on a streak, sneak into the playoff. I think there were a lot of – I think that was the team that I worried about the absolute least when I was going into the season thinking, well, the Giants beat us twice last year. Like, they gave us a rough time. Obviously, the Cowboys were on my radar.
I'm good. How are you? Yeah, I'm just in here taking a meeting, Huh? That's what I said. Yeah, I got the fob for it, so why not?
Why not enjoying it?
Yeah. See you. Yeah. Okay. Close one, fellas. Close one, boys.
Who was that, bro?
It's my favorite security lady. I don't know what her name is, but she's really nice. She's from Ethiopia.
Heck yeah, dude. So she's letting you post up in this spot so we can get our shit done.
I mean, more or less. I mean, she was like solidifying what I already knew is like, so you can like reserve these rooms in my building, the National Press Building, weird flex. And if they're just not reserved, if you're just like a building member or whatever, you can come down here and just use the space. Like whenever, like I know for our viewers and our audio listeners too, you can't see, but in front of me, there's like whiteboards, there's like a TV to my right. Like it's like a conference room. So this is where I come down when I can't do it in my actual office. So, but yeah, not to interrupt you. What were you saying? A big surprise was Philly.
I think Philly was like, I thought Sirianni was kind of like an idiot. I mean, everything he said kind of early on when they were 2-5, I was like, this dude's a joke. Like he's probably going to get fired, one and done. And they rally their squad, get a couple of wins together on a streak, beat us twice. And they're in the playoffs, and we'll talk about that game in a bit, but another playoff team.
We will.
I did not see them make the playoffs at the beginning of this year.
Tennessee.
No, I said I did not see the Eagles making the playoffs this year.
No one did. I think we talked about it in last week's episode or one prior, but like I think the prediction for a win total was 4 wins or something like that. That's what someone said. Like, I saw another thing. I saw another thing on Twitter where like I think it was like Power Football Focus like mentioned what they gave away Carson Wentz for to Indy and like what they spent on Jalen Hurts, I think a 3rd round pick, and then like the fact that the Eagles made the playoffs and the Colts did not. Granted, there's a lot more that goes into that, but it makes the Philadelphia organization look very smart. And not to say that Carson Wentz didn't play bad, but there were moments where you need your quarterback to go down and get points and be consistent and like be that dude. And he couldn't do it. I honestly think if you put Derek Carr on that team, that's a pretty scary team.
Yep. I think you're right.
That out there.
Yep.
But I would love to talk coaching carousel now. We've got some firings going on. But real quick, how about we just go into this intro right now? My name's Sean, and just real quick, it's a little chilly in here.
Fresh hat straight from Buffalo.
Yeah, that's right. Straight from the game. You know what I'm saying? You gotta support those local vendors. It's all the same stuff. Yeah, my name's Sean. I'm partial to those Buffalo AFC back-to-back AFC East champion Bills, baby. Woo!
My name's Holden. I'm partially biased to the Washington Hogs, baby. Let's go.
Washington Hogs. Washington Hogwarts? No.
I don't know, dude. I feel like I don't know what it's gonna be.
You sure? Because I think like the popular consensus is Commanders, no?
I think that is, but I don't know. Like, and part of me now is like leaning like, was that all a ploy? Was all that leaking something just to get fans to think it was Commanders? And then Jason Wright, our president, says, no, it's actually this. Is it actually Red Wolves? Did they say it wasn't Red Wolves for it to only be Red Wolves?
Smokescreen.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to give this organization too much credit because it's kind of dumpster fire, but it would be kind of cool. So I don't know.
That would be crazy if like they literally like leaked the Commander stuff on purpose just so people will get hype about it. Like, I'm just thinking like behind closed doors, like that picture of Ron that I think everyone has seen now. And like in the picture, he's probably actually saying something like, he's actually saying something like, wow, this is dumb. Glad we're not going with this. Like, you know,
I mean, it
could
be
total smoke screen.
I'm just going to sit back and wait for 2-2-22 and we'll just see what happens. But the more I've thought about it, kind of let Red Wolves like leaning toward, and then I thought about Red Hogs and Hogs. I'm like, that's actually something I could get behind. It's got the heritage. I've got a shirt that actually says Hogs 2.0. When Trent Williams was here, and they wanted that offensive line to emulate what they were back in the 80s, and I was like, this would actually be kind of cool. Almost get like Arkansas Razorbacks type logo, and kind of like at that on the side. Like, I could get down with it. I could get down with it.
Dude, I could too, dude. That's like tough. Or like the Warhogs, you know what I mean? Like that'd be...
we'll see. It's probably
there's just so much you can do off that. I'm a fan of that. I would love that. I'm not a fan of that team, but I like that, like as a franchise team, you know, for sure.
That's who I'm a fan of, you know? Regardless of what is, that's who I'm a fan of. That's who I'm a fan of.
Hey, and you know it. Playoff edition, baby. And this is partially biased. The show with biased takes from biased fans, partially. And I'm hyped. What's up? Are we high-fiving?
Breaking news.
No, Holden.
Head coach for the Texans just got fired as we speak.
Dude, how? Wasn't he a one-year rental anyway?
David Culley just got fired. I think that's kind of, we'll talk. We were just saying we were going to talk about this.
Let's get into it. First reaction. Let's go. What do you think? David Culley.
I mean, what is he supposed to do?
Right.
Well, like, you're going to fire this guy when you're just like, okay, my quarterback's got tons of issues.
Yeah.
Like,
no Deshaun Watson.
No
Tyrod Taylor injured like the whole year.
Tyrod goes out right away.
No running backs.
David Mills, who's like, I mean, he's
pretty good for a rookie. Pretty good.
You're a rookie quarterback with really not a ton of help besides Brandon Cooks, and like you said, not a ton of. I mean, most of these running backs were like used
Phillip
goods.
Lindsay.
Yeah, I mean Phillip Lindsay, David Johnson. Who else?
Mark Ingram, I want to say for a hot second.
He was, and then they traded him back to the Saints.
Yeah, which I do like that for the Saints for sure. That's just classic.
But like, what is he supposed to do? You expect him to go win the division? Like, it's not all on him. It kind of stinks. I think it's tough for organizations to let guys go after 1 year because you really don't know, you know, you haven't seen enough of them. I think that's too short of guys, but that stings for him.
I think it shows how poor of an organization it is almost. Because, like, I'm thinking of, like, one-year head coaches. Like, I think Cleveland had a few stints of that. In my mind, Chip Kelly with the Niners, that was, like, a one-year rental. And to me, it almost says, and don't get me wrong, there were a lot of firings that happened. Like, and that's partially what I want to talk about is, like, especially in Minnesota and Miami, those were two firings. I'm like, these guys are good coaches. These guys are playoff coaches. And I think maybe the Texans potentially were looking at that and saying, I like these guys better than our guy. And that's what it kind of comes down to. So part of me almost wants to interpret it as like not a firing, but almost I want to say mutually part way. It's just like, hey, you did a good job, or we're just not that into you. Like like you hope behind closed doors is kind of like, we understand like there were issues and we didn't expect a lot to begin with, but we just think that there's another guy who can do your job better. And like that sucks for David Culley because like, he's been in the league for a while and you hate to see that. So hopefully he lands on his feet and all that stuff. But I'm with you. What was he supposed to do? Especially in a team with, or especially in a division with like two good teams in Tennessee and Indianapolis. And I think they got a win on each of them, didn't they? Or at least on Tennessee.
What they did on Tennessee, I don't know if they did on the Colts actually.
Well, I think they played them close. Like I don't know.
They did. Yeah, they were tight games. I mean, they were tight games.
Yeah. So it's like, what more do you need?
I like what you said though about maybe seeing some of those guys who were out there and they were like these guys would probably be a better fit or just more of a head coaching. I mean, there are guys who are cut out to be head coaches and there are guys that are not. Yep. And we'll find that out very quickly. So maybe like.
I mean, you think that, but like just to bring it to the Bills for a second, I mean, there's a lot of talk around our defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier, getting another shot at a head coaching gig. And I think about to his time in Minneapolis and he kind of sucked. Like he wasn't good. And I'm like, maybe he's just a really good defensive coordinator. Like, and that's not the shit on him. And like, if someone wants to go give him another chance, that's fine. But how many chances does a guy get? Like, if you get 2, I think that's pretty lucky.
I think so too. I agree. And it's also like if Mike Tomlin ever got fired, like,
never going to happen.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if that ever happened, like, he's going to get another chance. Like, there are guys who are just proven going to get a second chance.
Well, dude, look at Mike McCarthy, a guy who won a Super Bowl in 2010 and like was pretty mediocre for the most part after with the roster that he had, and then like one season off gets, some would say, a premier coaching job with Dallas, Like, we got a young quarterback, young running back, like young defense, good O-line, like good wide receivers. Like some people just luck into it like that. You just need one big win.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think that's kind of how Rivera's made his getting to a Super Bowl and putting together, building something in Carolina. Like when you can see a team, when you can see a coach build
just add players around them,
come in and put together some winning seasons. Like
typically you do see that kind of like rebuild structure in a way, where I almost think like there's a timeline for things.
If years, this is this year 3 is going to be big for Ron in this spot, but yeah, that's one of the coaching spots. I think Flores for the Miami Dolphins. If I was the Dolphins, I would not have gotten rid of him, but that's just me personally. I think,
dude, what was up with that? I was blindsided by that.
I think a lot of people were. I think like that's a weird signing or a weird firing, especially when you go on a 7-game losing streak and a 7-game winning streak in the same season.
Yeah. In a tough division with two playoff opponents or 2 playoff teams.
That to me just says, okay, so when our backs are against the wall and we're 1-8 or they were 1-8, right?
I guess so.
1-7.
So the math works.
1-7, and they went 7 straight. That's insane. And they were in the playoffs, and I know they got their butts handed to them against Tennessee, but still. You look at where the Titans are, they're number 1 in the AFC right now. That's a good team right now. And sometimes it's just like, hey, we got our butts kicked that day and we still had a winning season.
Yeah. Because no one expected this Miami team to be good, right?
I don't think so. I think people expected them to actually be about where they were, which is 3rd in the division, but not with 9 wins. Maybe with like 6-5 wins. Yeah, not with 9.
Because still, like, no real premier running back. I mean, they do have like one good wide receiver, I think, still down there. And I still got that one stud corner. Was it Xavier Howard?
I think so, yeah. And I mean, Jalen Waddle played well when he was healthy.
Yeah. But and then Tua being like injured like a good amount,
Yeah. I would have given him another year to see.
Oh, for sure. Just one more prove it year. But I mean, he's someone that like I know through like Bill's channels has talked about like, we do lose Leslie Frazier. Like we would take him in and have him be a defensive coordinator. But I know there's talks of him being like the head coach for the Chicago Bears, which, could work. I mean,
Nagy was pretty much like this.
Dude.
Yeah.
We all knew that.
I'm surprised it didn't happen during the season, but maybe they were just saying like, we're going to finish. I don't know.
I'm just surprised it wasn't like the first name that we heard. Like, I want to say that was just such a popular name, like to be called, to be fired. Like, I don't know. I don't have a lot of Miami friends or like, I don't pay attention to those channels, but I feel like we didn't have that general like word of mouth going from like, oh, fire Flores. Everyone was like, fire Matt Nagy, fire
Right.
him.
Yeah.
Even last year. And even for Zimmer, like Zimmer was a big one too. Like, I know that was in big talks, but I'm like,
well, how long has Zimmer? He's been there for a minute though.
I want to say like 5 years, something like that, roughly.
Yeah, and I mean, you got a couple playoff wins under your belt, but you haven't taken that step. And this league it's NFL. People have probably heard this, but it's not for long. And you have such a small window, sometimes as a player, but especially coach, to get it done. So,
dude, I agree.
Zimmer had his time.
I mean, compare it to like when we talk about the position of the quarterback and how like to be an NFL quarterback, there are only 32 openings for that. And there are some times where those jobs don't come open. Like Green Bay hasn't had an opening for that position in over 10 years. Same thing for Pittsburgh, same thing for New England until recently, and it's the same thing for coaches. Like, there are 32 jobs, NFL head coaches in the entire world. Like, that's how competitive it is. That's how much people want this. And that's how rare of an opportunity. You don't just walk into that role.
Nope. Yep.
Nope. 100%.
And typically the head coaches are obviously coming from somewhere where they've been successful as an OC or a DC. And then they get to that level and they just don't have it. And sometimes you got to learn the hard way that these guys don't have it.
I mean, I agree. I mean, for me,
I'll tell you another.
What? Tell me another.
No, you go. Oh, I was just going to say real briefly.
I
was actually a little disappointed about was Joe Judge. I mean, I didn't mind having. I mean, granted, like I think a lot of people had said, like I think the whole NFC East was upset about that because they enjoy playing this Giants team. The Giants have been one of the worst teams over the past 5 years. I think, if not
longer,
in the past 5 years. Like they are like bottom win total.
Yep.
Ever since Eli, even on Eli's last few years, I mean, it was on a fall. This team has just struggled as of recently. And again, I think it was a short sample size, but I just don't think Joe Judge ever had it to be. I mean, wasn't he a special teams coordinator for New England?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So, I mean, like, I just don't think he ever had it. And I don't know, some of the things that he said as a head coach. Also, I think as a head coach, you have to set an example and say certain things certain ways.
Yeah.
And hearing what he said kind of about our organization, like this past week when we played them, like, I didn't like it. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way as a head coach. And, I know it's not saying much, but we ended up giving him one last loss of his head coaching career because I don't think he's going to get another opportunity as a head coach.
I mean, not right away. I mean, he may have to go to a coordinator position again for a while, but it's like, okay, it's not like he was even close. It's not like his players really liked him. It's not like he really developed Daniel Jones into an elite quarterback, and like we can say like maybe he got a little unlucky with Saquon, which just a transition, I guess, in a way. We're going on a tangent. I'm interested to see what happens to Saquon because I'm hearing rumors of Giants are cutting their losses. Saquon Barkley, free agent. Like,
and Daniel Jones, like I think everything was in play. I've heard that's what I've heard. I mean, considering you're GM and a new head coach, like those guys coming in, Daniel Jones and Saquon, those weren't their guys. So it's like, and they've got what 2 picks in the top 11 or top 10, maybe 2 picks.
I think so. Maybe
something like that. Who says that they don't go out and go get, a quarterback and a running back and just restart the franchise, from ground.
Well, dude, speaking of restarts, that's like the vibe I'm getting from Minnesota. Like, I think it's full restart minus Dalvin Cook. I think like Kirk's time is up. That's what it spells to me is like rebuild. It's not like Packers getting a new head coach and like, okay, let's pick it up where we left off. We just needed a different like mindset or strategy. And like spin zone, I think that leaves a huge opening for Detroit and Chicago for not the division, but a potential wild card next year, because that's how that power dynamic works. For the past like 10-ish years, it's been Minnesota and Green Bay Like
Yeah,
one of them getting a
definitely.
wild card, and like I think like another NFC North team takes it over from them.
Yeah. Well,
But
I'm glad I'm glad that Dan Campbell's holding on for another year. I think he deserves another year. I
yep.
think they put together some. When you go back and look at some of their losses, like some of them were really close, and then they did have some kind of surprising wins.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they came out the ball that last week, which I think that was your game of the week when you were saying like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is gonna ball out so he can get MVP, and that didn't happen.
Well, he threw 2 tutties.
I mean, he did, but like still lost to the Detroit Lions. I mean, at that point, it doesn't matter. Like you're playing for a bigger goal.
Yeah, they took him out at that point, but
Oh,
I thought
sure.
they were going to a little bit longer. I mean, granted, like I think some people were still shocked that he even played that final week, but I figured he would a couple more TDs in there. Yeah.
But I'm happy for him. And like I think it was a stat that no one had more one possession losses than the Detroit Lions. So like they were in every game. And like to me, if I'm an owner, a GM, I'm looking at that like, okay, we're close. This was kind of like a ragtag Frankenstein team. We just put a bunch of stuff together. Let's give them another draft, another free agent period, and let's see what we can do. Let's run the table. But I don't know if you have anything else to say on this, but I'm gonna say one last thing for this head coaching carousel. Just another thing, like you mentioned how NFC East is going to miss Joe Judge just because you love getting those 2 dubs once, every year. And that's how I feel about Brian Flores in like a different way, in the fact that like, okay, this was a good coach. Like I think everyone objectively like this is a good coach, and y'all got rid of him. So now I'm expecting 2 pretty easy. We already had their number, and now I'm like, oh, y'all aren't even going to put up a fight next year. Like I don't see it. Like if y'all want to keep being dysfunctional and helping us get more championships and home field advantage, hey, I'm all for it. Like, thank you, Miami.
Yeah, especially when it happens within your division. I mean, anytime coaching changes happen in your division for a reason, it's for not making the playoffs. It's for losing. It's for, that's why coaching changes typically happen. And it's, I'm also looking at it next year like, okay, we'll see who the Giants get, but I'm also saying first year head coach, I'm not like, especially based off of, what they had last year and kind of what we had. I mean, I'm not going to give us all excuses, but like given what we had at quarterback and stuff, it's like, if we can make a move or something, I'm not really worried about the Giants next year.
Oh, no. You're not
really. I mean,
they're a non-factor. Like they don't keep you up at night. You're worried about Dallas and you're worried about Philly.
Now I'm worried about. I didn't think I'd have to be worried about Philly next year, but now I'm gonna have to be worried about Philly next year. So
I think they just play better team ball. Like it's not like they have a position that really jumps out at you of like, wow, that's a top 5 guy, top 10 guy at his position. But they just play really well together. I think they honestly are just like kind of well coached at this moment. But hey, enough about coaching carousel. Enough about last week. Let's move it on. Let's go to wild card weekend, baby. We got football all Saturday, all Sunday. I'm hype. I'm ready to roll. We got a new sponsor this week, Holden.
What do we got?
Dude, we're sponsored by Monster Juice.
Monster sends you, dude. This is our competitor, dude.
I know. I'm telling you, dude. They heard all the buzz that we were getting from Red Bull and like how much we were increasing their sales, and they were like, "Yo, we gotta get these guys." They were like, "We gotta sign Partially Biased." So this is a 1-week trial. I told them, I was like, "Hey, Red Bull," I was like, "Yeah, this is what they're giving us. We're gonna roll with them for 1 week. We love you, but like." Hey, yesterday's price is yesterday's price, So we got Pacific Punch. It's delicious. It's refreshing. Kind of tastes like Hawaiian Punch, but like better. Let's get a little can pop. Real satisfying can pop.
They do have
so good.
Larger can. They've got the larger can. So
I do like the larger can because sometimes you don't get enough Red Bull, and like between you and me, Monster's a little cheaper too, a little more affordable.
Well, it doesn't matter, but
shout out Monster. Helps you win your Monster must win bets. Pick yourself up one today. Monster that bet. Yeah, dude, pretty good, pretty tasty. But I guess a quick segue before we get in the wild card, dude. I already texted you this, but just for our viewers and listeners, Oh, this past weekend was good. I mean, outside of me having a wonderful experience at the Bill Stadium, I'm talking about betting wise, all my end of season win total bets came in, and I don't want to brag, but I think I was 4 or 5
Brag.
for the year. So next year we're definitely going to do a special on my picks of the year for win totals over under, because that was a nice little payday because I maxed out every one of those bets like for my limit or whatever, and it was nice.
Hey, I'm proud of you.
Dude,
I know I'm not
you.
a guy, but like you said, I mean, you obviously have a good I think you did have a really good feel on how this season would go. Like, I think you did, we'll have to go back to week 1 and but I think you did have a really good feel where teams were and where teams were going to kind of end up at the end of this year.
Yeah,
and
thank you. And
now we're at the
Now we're at the wild card weekend. Who would have thought we ever got here? Not this guy. Not me for sure. Never saw that coming, unfortunately. But what are you going to do? Yes.
What did you say?
Sorry. We're having internet connection issues, it seems. But
probably on my end, but
it could be on mine. I'm not going to, is what it is. Hey, we're getting through wild card weekend. I don't know what you said, but yeah, I thought I had a good feel of it. I will say the biggest thing I was wrong on was the pass. I will admit to that, especially to our friend Jack, who told me I was crazy. It was like Bill Belichick coach team. There's no way. But I love betting against the Patriots, and if that's wrong, then I don't want to be right. And one I was close on was Atlanta. I got them at under 7.5. Sure enough, they finished with 7 wins. So I snuck that by half.
Yeah, that was a team that I thought was going to be a lot worse. But then I guess I kind of didn't really factor in the fact that they still do have, granted, it's former, and granted, like it's not the same, but they do have Matt Ryan, who's still like a capable quarterback in this league. He's done it for a lot of years. He's made it to a Super Bowl. So I kind of forgot that he could still get it done when need be. And given everything that they kind of felt that they dealt with Calvin Ridley too, losing their number 1 guy.
Yeah, that was tough.
String together a couple wins, which was
they did. But also spin zone, I didn't see Carolina being that bad towards the end of the year.
No.
I think they got some nice wins against those,
Also just goes to show you, I kind of forgot that when you said that they started off this year 3-0. So did Denver. And like these teams that started off 3-0, I guess the Raiders started off 3-0 as well.
Yep, they did. I think they might have stretched it to 4. I could be wrong.
And they made it to the playoffs, but those other 2 didn't make it. And it's just like, not about how you start, it's about how you finish in this league.
Well, I think there's an insane stat that like if you start off, I think it's like 3-0 or 4-0, you have like a 65% chance of like making the playoffs in the year. So really the numbers were in their favor, and I guess they just couldn't finish. They weren't built for late season, one way or the other. But
and there's a big when you start off 0-2, it is very hard to make the playoffs.
Upward hill battle.
The Colts were almost a team that started off 0-3 and had a chance to do it. And just goes to show you, man, one of those wins, you flip it to the other column and you're in the playoffs. So it does stink when you look back and you're just like, there's so many what ifs and shoulda, coulda, wouldas in this league. It's impossible got to move on and hope for a better next year.
Hey, every damn given Sunday, and this is why we love the sport of football so much, like collegiately, NFL, is the fact that the season really is that short. Every game does matter. This isn't NBA. This isn't soccer. This isn't NHL or MLB where there's literally like so many games. It's like you need to win every one, like to bolster your chances.
Straight up.
But it's funny how you mentioned that with the Colts, because I believe that's exactly what owner and CEO Jim Irsay said in his press release this morning. Like he specifically mentioned starting 0-2 or 0-3. It's like we didn't expect that start, and we were just able to get over that hump, so that sucks. Sorry, Indy fans, that's a bummer. But how about we move on to some NFL wildcard predictions, baby, sponsored by Monster.
Let's do it, baby.
All right, first up, and I'm gonna need, I think this is obvious, but this could be a trap game. Raiders, Bengals, Cincy favored by 5.5. I believe they're playing in Cincinnati because they're the higher seed. So
yep.
Holden, who's gonna win this game? Who should I bet the house on?
Well, here's what I'm going to say about betting in the playoffs. I would not bet any houses.
Playoffs?
the money that you should have made should have been during the season.
No.
Playoffs and championship games are when you backpedal, drop the unit size a little bit lower, because this is entertainment football. We want to sit back, watch good football, but also anything can happen in these games. It's going to be so tough to tell. I mean, to be honest with you, and I don't know if this is a partially biased what I want, or I don't know if this is what I feel, but I think the Raiders at plus 5.5 is great value. And I think the Raiders are going to find a way to get this win. This is Joe Burrow's first rodeo. Granted, it's also Derek Carr's first rodeo. I just think I saw enough.
That's first rodeo.
In the playoffs, I think it is. Isn't it? You sure?
I'm almost positive, unless it was that year they had, what was his name? Cook out of Michigan State was his backup, I think. But I think that was the year when the Raiders were 13-3 with Jack Del Rio.
I love Jack Del Rio, by the way.
Oh, yeah, who doesn't?
I thought this was his first rodeo in the playoffs. I could be wrong on that. Either way,
I think he got injured first round in the playoffs.
That's what I thought. He hasn't had an opportunity. He hasn't had the chance to be in the playoffs. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to go back and do a little digging on that. I could be totally
sure.
But bottom line is, it's not a regular thing for Derek Carr, and I think they've fought through so much this year. I think they're rallying behind this interim head coach, where I think this is the first interim head coach to lead a team to the playoffs since the 60s. Darren Waller.
What was it? Bruce Arians, Colts. Chuck Strong that year where Chuck McDowell had cancer.
I don't know. Again, these are stats that I'm flying through on Twitter, so I don't know how.
Bro, you're good. I could be wrong. He could have been back by then. I'm just, can't agree with you all the time, Holden.
Hey, I understand. Either way, I think that Derek Carr's going to find a way to get it done. I also think they have the better field goal kicker, and I know that doesn't.
Oh, for sure.
When it comes to the playoffs, I think field goal kicker is a spot where you're looking at who's your place kicker, who's dropping bombs when there's no time on the clock, or you're fighting for OT. This dude Carlson just signed an extension. This dude's. I'm taking the Raiders on an upset in Cincy. Love the 5.5. I love the 2.5 last week. Give it to me again this week. And what do you think?
I love the Bengals so much here. Just how they've ended the season. They've come in on I feel such kind of a hot streak. It's just an explosive offense, so many weapons. They can run the ball. Defense isn't bad. Joe Burrow, I don't know. I'm already going to put him in the MVP conversation for next year. Potentially, or at least the Pro Bowl. Damn it. But I think that's why I need to fade myself, because I love this Bengals team so much that I need to fade myself and remind myself that Raiders found a way to beat a good Chargers team last week at home. They found a way to get it done. They are grinders. They got a good pass rush, and I think you're right. This is a first-time playoff quarterback in his second year, first full healthy season, Joe Burrow. So, and that's why I think I have to pick the Raiders. Somehow they just find a way to at least cover, But
also, I kind of their pass rush is Max Crosby's such a beast, and also in that spot too. I just look at. I'm trying to even think on. The Bengals have had a good defense, but I can't think of a ton of guys on the defensive that.
Maybe they still have Geno Atkins, I think, a defensive tackle. That's the only name I can name.
And Derek Carr was at least top 5 in passing yards. He slang the. So I think he's going to do.
Renfro peaking, getting their star tight end back healthy. That's huge, So, yeah. And I think
you go ahead.
I think the Raiders are built a little bit for playoff football just because they have a slower pace. I think they do run the ball better. I do like Joe Mixon better. He's a more versatile back, but I don't know. If they're playing outside in Cincinnati, I don't think that favors the pass. That could be just me.
When we get to this playoff spot, it's really tough. And I will say something about this game. I won't be mad either one of these teams win or lose. I think this is if the Bengals win, that's awesome. If the Raiders win, that's all. Which I love those kind of playoff matchups as a football fan. it's stress-free for me, unless I put a little money on it somewhere. But it's like it's the AFC. I don't really have anything against these teams. It's like I'm ready to watch a good football game, and I think the Raiders are going to find a way, just because I think they're a little bit more built, just a little bit more built.
I think you're right. I mean, just great stories on both sides. I'm looking for a good game. Moving on, dude.
Picking the Raiders? Are you picking the Raiders?
Yeah, I'm going to go Raiders with you. I'm going Raiders with you. I think just because I have to fade myself. Yeah, I mean, until proven otherwise, I'm not going to be shocked if Bengals win, but I'm going to take the Raiders here just because I think
nothing playoffs is going to shock me at this point. Nothing.
And I will tease this from my first ever Wildcard Can't Lose teaser. That is a part of the teaser, but not in the way that you think. But moving on, dude, my game of the week. I'm not going to say game of the year because, we're playing for more than just a playoff win here. Bills, Pats in Buffalo. Bills favored -4. I want you to go first. That's right.
I'm going to take the Bills -4. And that's that's just because you're staring at me right now. I don't want to take that. I don't want to this game, I actually could see this game being very, being kind of tight like it was the but I just think Josh is I think Josh is a far better quarterback than Mac Jones. I know we've been going on back and forth about the Mac Jones things, off on the
Mac Jones.
I know you do, and I think it's very early, and I think Belichick puts him in good situations. I think in time, that can be scary. I think in time, if Bill Belichick is working with, continues to build around Mac Jones and makes him a better passer, that can happen in time. But right now, right here, I think this Bills team is far more, I'm not going to say, the team overall, I feel like is more experienced when it comes to being in playoffs with their guy Josh. And this is the first year for Mac. It'd be a completely different story if obviously another quarterback was in there named Tom Brady. It's not the case. That's old. We do know Belichick's a great coach, and we know that he's capable of a lot of things, but I just think Josh is going to have some fire under him. He knows what's at stake. They knew it was at stake last week. They won the division. They're getting this home game. That place is going to be bananas.
It's going to be nuts. It is going to be insane.
And I could see the Bills winning by a touchdown. I could see it being a touchdown game.
God, I hope so, dude. I really hope so because I see it the same way. I think it's almost going to be a very close, knock on wood, close to got to find some wood somewhere. I'll find it later. I think it's going to be close to our second meetup where I think we beat them by 2 scores, maybe 3. I don't know. But I think it was 2 2-point conversions or something like that. I think that's how it's going to be. I think we're just playing better. I think our defense is playing so well. I don't know if you noticed, but I believe we have 2 of the highest graded defensive ends this year. So I think our pass rush is playing so well. Our defense is playing so well. I think we have the Patriots kind of figured out, especially defensively. I think we know how to hassle Mac Jones. I think, and not only that, we're running the ball so well these past 4 weeks. And
that's true.
Statistically, the Patriots are not playing the run well right now. So I'm thinking if we just ground and pound, just don't rely on Josh too heavily, but let Josh be Josh when he needs to be, almost let him call the plays. I almost kind of feel and let's go out and get a fat dub and move on to whoever the hell is next. Because nothing would be better than beating the Pats in the playoffs, at home in front of that crowd. It would just be electric.
Losing to a playoff, I don't know if we'd be able to do a show the following week if you lose this game, because I know how it is, and I know how I could not handle losing. It's hard enough not making the playoffs and all that stuff, and maybe during the regular season it sucks, but if I was playing in the playoffs and having to play a division rival and I got knocked out, it would be so hard. I think it would just be one of the hardest things to possibly do. And it's crazy that we have I think 3 division games in the playoffs, which is just These teams have already seen each other 2 times. Like
a lot of tape.
A lot of tape, and anything can happen in these kind of games. Like Jags Colts proved it last week. These games are just you play them every year, twice a year. I think you guys are going to get this one, but
you know,
it's gonna be crazy.
To quote Jerry Hughes, it's going to like these both teams know each other. You know, it's going to come down to who wants it more, and we're going to come back to this game because obviously I have some best bets on this, and I'll give you some stats to prove why I think I'm going to be right. But at the same time, like it's going to be like 0 degrees and snowing. What a playoff game. I am ready.
Playoff football, dude. I love it. It's going to be awesome.
No one wants to go to Buffalo in January, baby. You know,
Heck no.
Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? And also would love to just rub it in the Pats fans' faces just one more time, especially if Mac Jones just does not have a good game. Like, I just want to ruin their hopes and dreams. Like, I'm just like, damn, like all those idiots who said, like, oh, he's going to be the next Tom Brady. Just watch. And just be like, no, sorry, he ain't special. But I'm hyped. I'm going to be watching the game. You know I'm going to be lit. Or I'm just going to be hyped the whole time. But it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. I hope it goes the way I want to. Or like you said, might be tough to have the show next week. We may just not talk about it. Moving on to potentially the upset of the week. Eagles, Bucks in Tampa. Tampa favored by a whopping 8.5.
Wow.
Holden, I'm going to keep going to you. I don't know why. I like you leading today.
Okay. All right. Well, so this is a weird take for me. I'm going to do a quick little story. We'll make it short and sweet.
Okay.
We've got an Eagles fan, one of our best friends.
That's true.
Back in 2017, they had Carson Wentz, an MVP candidate. He tore his ACL. They were on track to get first seed in the playoffs. Then he tore his ACL. I was going back and forth with him, and I bet him if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, you have to get a tattoo. It just makes sense.
Yeah,
and of course, he agreed to it. It made, obviously there's no chance that Nick Foles comes in and leads them on a Super Bowl run. What happens? They win it. Okay. So he's got a Eagles Super Bowl 52 tattoo right on his butt cheek. It's great.
Yeah, he does.
A couple of weeks ago, same kind of thing, we're like, what if the Eagles make the playoffs? Because they were kind of out of it. Nobody really counted.
Oh yeah.
The same kind of thing maybe 3 weeks ago. I was like, what would happen if like they went on another run and like won the Super Bowl? And jokingly, he's like, there's no. I'm like, okay, well, if they do, you got to get a Jalen Hurts tattoo on your other cheek. He agreed. That is in. That is who I'm rooting for to win the Super Bowl. Okay. Partially biased take, that's what I would like to happen because I think that would be absolutely hysterical. I do, however,
so dumb.
I do think I think Eagles at plus 8.5 is a great bet because I believe this team already played this year. It was a Thursday night game.
It was close.
I think it was a 6-point game, 6 or 8 point game. It wasn't anything like it was a 1 possession game.
Yeah.
So I think that half is kind of a lot. I think when you look at Brady's weapons, this would be a completely different game if he had everybody healthy. But with no Chris Godwin, obviously like Antonio Brown now out of the picture, some guys are going to have to step up. And I know that the Eagles don't really have the greatest core, but Dallas Goedert, another week healthy. Jalen Hurts rested last week as well.
Yep.
Jason Kelsey rested last. A lot of their star guys rested. I think this team still has a lot of guys a part of that Super Bowl run from a few years ago. I could see this being a really close matchup. I do think now I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going to do it. Champs are going down. I didn't want to do it, but I've got to for the sake of my partially biased bet with one of our friends. I'm taking the Eagles on a big upset to upset the champs, dude. I'm going to do it.
You can't bet against Tom.
I know.
Can't. This is Tom time. This is Tom season. It doesn't matter. This is kind of like, it's not similar to what they were last year where they just, made the playoffs, went on a run and won the whole damn thing. But that man somehow finds another gear. This man has thrown more touchdowns than his age. And I think he's 45. So he's thrown 46. They've had some tough games, but I think they find a way. I think with Gronk, I think with like some of the other lesser known wide receivers. I mean, they still got Mike Evans. He's tough. Hopefully, they get some of their better defensive front seven back and they're healthy. I think they find a way. I think one thing, like the narrative for me, is last week Dak Prescott passed all over Philly, and I don't know if Philly's secondary had people resting or not.
They
did. Okay,
Yes.
because like on paper, I'm thinking who passes the ball better than Tampa Bay? I don't think anyone does. I think so. That's why on me, I'm thinking they find a way to beat Philly. I don't think it's gonna be pretty. I think 8.5 is too big of a number. I do like Philly to cover, but I think 9 times out of 10, Tom's gonna get one. I can't remember the last time he lost in the first round.
Agreed with that. I do agree. That's why I think like this is just it's more so the fact that I made this bet and I kind of have to for this bet. So it's probably a little bit too partial of a take, but guess what? This is our show and we do what we want.
That's right, baby.
I'm not gonna be surprised in any way, shape, or form, probably when Tampa Bay finds a way to win this. But I also will say I think Jalen Hurts' legs are very dangerous. And
they are.
I think he's got a lot to prove. And I also think this team is kind of playing with no fear. I think there's so much pressure on Tom and this crew to do it with limited weapons. And I'm like, Tom's going to, if it gets out to an early start where Tampa or Philadelphia can take advantage of a couple early turnovers or something, like this could get dangerous. And I don't know, maybe Philly comes to play, and I think Philly's going to travel well. I think Philly fans will travel well to this game.
For sure.
It's going to be a fun game. I think it's actually a really good matchup. I think most of these games are really good matchups. I'm probably going to have to go back and watch the first game that these guys played against each other and see what happened, see who were the stars of those games and see kind of what happened. Because also, Devontae Smith is kind of starting to get in a rhythm too.
You think so?
A little bit.
Huge. That is huge.
I mean, if he has a good game, that's something we talk about is secondary isn't the best part of that defense. It's really their interior front and outside pass rushers.
Yep.
But when you've got a guy like Jalen Hurts who can move around and scramble, that makes it really difficult. And I will say
spin zone this year, I think Tampa has struggled against mobile quarterbacks, specifically New Orleans in Taysom Hill, and I'll even throw Jameis Winston in there. So
sorry.
Anything can happen. You better be sorry.
Well, hey, Taylor Heineke's somewhat of a mobile quarterback, and
that's true. That's true.
They lost to Taylor. So.
Bro, quick side tangent. I heard the most ridiculous pronunciation of Taylor's last name in Buffalo this past weekend. I was at a bar getting the best wings known to mankind. Well worth the trip just for the wings. This guy was like, "Oh yeah, well, what about that Washington quarterback? What's his name? Taylor Heinicke." I was like,
I have heard a Heinicke before.
I was like, Heinicke? I was like, it's Heineke. I was like, man, it was just rough, man. And like they didn't correct themselves at all. They said it like 5 more times like that. Yeah, that Heinicke guy, I don't know.
Yeah, not many people really know too much about him anyway, so I'm not super surprised, but
whatever.
Like the
beard.
Heineke, like the beard, just Heineke and Heineke.
Yeah, it's not hard. I think there are harder names in the NFL to get. So whatever. But we're gonna move on. Niners Cowboys. I like this game a lot. I'm gonna start it off. I don't think the boys have it. I think the San Francisco defense is sneaky. I think the offense is sneaky. I think they're better coached. I'm gonna take the Niners to win outright. Dallas is, by the way, a -3 favorite. Obviously, it's going to be played in Big D. I'll say Dallas's defense statistically at home is pretty good, but I think Niners and Jimmy G find a way. Fight another day. I'm excited to see what happens to Jimmy G in the offseason. I really think he's got some legs left on him. Maybe in Washington.
We have too many experiment quarterbacks, man. I don't know what I want to do here. I'm trying. We'll talk about that later.
For sure. But who do you like here? The Cowboys? Come on.
I mean, you know who I'm picking.
49ers.
I'm a big 49ers fan this week, okay? And not only do I want them to win, I think they're going to win. I saw so much from them last week. I thought they were done last week.
Same.
Rams, I'm like, they're down 17-zip. This is it. Like, Saints playoffs, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen. I thought the Saints were going to sneak in.
Yeah.
And the 49ers just put on a clinic.
Yeah.
And might I add, without really the help of, I mean, granted, he was blocking, but George Kittle was kind of like nowhere to be seen. He had 5 catches for 10 yards.
Yeah.
And like, that's your star tight end. I'm like, wait till he actually has himself a game. Debo's been playing. That offense is running through now. He can run. He can catch. He can still have a very good defense. I think the 49ers are going to win this game. And it's weird because I think people are kind of on the 49ers this week, which does kind of scare me a little.
Yeah.
Are expecting the 49ers to win almost, and I don't like that. But I just think they're kind of clicking at the right time. I know Dak had a great passing game against Philadelphia, but I just think Philadelphia was sitting a lot of guys, and I think those 5 touchdowns kind of – I don't think they're justified. I mean, granted, it's 5 touchdowns in the NFL, but I don't think you can look at him and be like, oh, my God, he's on a tear right now, because he's really not, and –
No.
I just think this 49ers team is peaking at the right time. So,
dude, I'm right there with you, and I almost feel like the difference maker is offensive line. I think Trent Williams has just been a stud, arguably, and I think statistically the best offensive lineman in football this year. Absolute beast, the silverback gorilla. Love that guy. And because like the only way I see Dallas winning somehow is if Trayvon Diggs gets like a pick or 2. And Micah Parsons and the rest of the Cowboys pass rush finds a way to get the Jimmy G. And I don't think Trent Williams allows that to happen. So, and George Kittle.
Trent Williams didn't even play last week.
He's so fresh. That big boy is fresh.
If he comes back this week, which I think that's going to be really dangerous. And I feel it's kind of healthy at the right time too. Elijah Mitchell's finally back. Jimmy, I mean, shoot, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, like I'm throwing in Trey Lance there and throwing in some like QB design runs and really bricks with that rookie as well. Because I mean, granted, like you just said, Jimmy G is more than likely gone next year from whatever. Draft a quarterback that high, typically your guy's on the way out. So this is almost a show for Jimmy to say like, hey, who wants me? And if he goes out and balls out and has a nice run, the market huge. So.
Very huge, or he could see himself in, I don't want to even say a Marcus Mariota situation where it's like, okay, you're waiting for the guy in front of you to mess up, like, and then it's yours, or like how Ryan Tannehill got to, Tennessee, like it was just like, oh, waiting for Marcus to mess up, and I'm gonna get my shot, and I'm not gonna let go of it, like, so there are gonna be a lot of interested parties. Real quick, and this is on a completely different note. Our dues this year were $20 for our league, right? We didn't go up to 25, did we?
It was 25.
Oh, it was 25. I just wanted to make sure. I thought I was tripping, and I was. But moving on to just an insane game. I think we're gonna break some hearts on this one. Steelers, Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by a whopping 12.5.
That is a lot for a playoff game. I don't know if I like the 12.5. A lot for a playoff game.
It's good Steelers defense. It's good Steelers defense that got torn apart by the Chiefs.
This one's tough because, like, part of me thinks, like, it's obvious that people are – it's like there's no question, right? Like, what's money line for Kansas City? Like, minus 500?
I have no idea. I mean, I can see if it pops up on Espen right here, right at the bottom of the screen.
Everybody's on the Chiefs. Like they're calling it Big Ben's retirement party.
Yeah.
It's kind of harsh, to be honest, but the guy's been good for a long time. Granted, he's not the same Big Ben as of old. I mean, all good things must come to an end, but you hope that they can make it a game. I think it's going to be. I think I like the Steelers at 12.5. I don't think Mike Tomlin in the playoffs with Big Ben. I don't think 12.5 is. I think that's disrespectful. I think this should be more of like a 7.5 line or something like that. Personally,
8.5 like Tampa and Philly, maybe
like that. a little closer, maybe a tutty game, but not a two-touch. So I will take the Steelers at plus 12.5. I do think the Chiefs. I think this Chiefs team has made it to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. People kind of counted them out early this year.
I did.
They're right here where they want to be and where they need to be. The Chiefs are going to win this game, dude.
I'm kind of with you, just in like the fashion that they beat Pittsburgh a few weeks back. I'm looking up the score right now, trying to stall for some time while this loads. But
36-10.
Oh, by 26 points.
That was that. Oh, I don't know.
Yep, 36-10. That's right. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I think it's got to be Chiefs. I think it's almost too obvious. Like, and I know it's going to make some people mad. And like, I'm sure there's, any given Sunday, any given play, if Patrick Mahomes has a bad day, if T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward just harass the heck out of them,
absolutely
all game. But I feel they needed to be the team that played the last home game in Heinz Field, not the team that played in Baltimore, because they didn't put up enough points. You got to put points up against the Chiefs. I think the only way the Steelers are able to beat Kansas City is if Najee Harris just has the game of his life. You just have extremely long and just methodical drives that result in touchdowns, because the Chiefs are going to score points, and you're just hoping that somehow you're able to run clock, keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, and you see where the chips lie. End of the game could be a field goal win, like just squeaking one by. But if Najee Harris doesn't have 200 all-purpose yards, I think it's kind of tough. I mean, but I'm trying to think. I almost have this feeling of college football national playoff. Like, I was like, okay, Bama had Georgia's number in the SEC championship. Oh, they're playing again in the national championship. Bama's going to just repeat what they did, and they came out, and Georgia came with a better game plan. I'm like, maybe Pitt comes with a better game plan this time. Maybe Kansas City's a little cocky, a little too well rested. Like, I don't know, but I just hope it's a good game. I hope it's a good game for Ben Roethlisberger.
I hope this. I think it would be awesome. And I mean, like, when it's playoff time, especially when your team's not in it, you're always for upsets. You love upsets because it's fun. And like, it's funny too to say like the Steelers are going to upset, because the Steelers have been a team that's been so dominant in this league for a long time, and you're not looking at them the same anymore. So I mean, I hope they do win. I just think the Chiefs are just still the Chiefs. I mean, I think they've made it to the AFC Championship game 3 years in a row, and they made it to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. I mean, it's just, it's hard to bet against them. It's just hard to bet against them.
It really is. It really is. Just like on paper, you're almost insane. Like, anyone who has a understanding of football or follows it at all is going to tell you the Chiefs are going to win this game. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing the Chiefs lose. I think Chiefs fans are a little too cocky, and they're a little annoying at this point. Like, where were the Chiefs fans with Matt Castle as y'all's starting quarterback? I don't see those Chiefs. There weren't any. Like, so I'm tired of hearing all these bandwagon Pat Mahomes fans, Chiefs fans, running their mouth. So I think it'd be hysterical if Pittsburgh sends them packing. That would be awesome. And also, low key, that would help my bills. Hopefully we take care of business, Chiefs are out, and we'll see. That'd be awesome. But wrapping up our wild card weekend, this game is insane. I don't know how to feel about it. You got to give me some insight on this one for sure. Cardinals, Rams favored -4. I'm trying to figure out where they're playing. They are playing in LA. Wow, that's crazy.
They won the division, so yeah, they're getting the home game.
I can't believe they won the division. That's just like, that just almost doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah,
Rams won the last one by a tutter.
Cardinals fell off at the end of the year, and Rams kind of picked it up. So that's kind of how it kind of flipped right at the end of the year. I mean, the division went down to the final week 18. So it ended up being, I think the Rams were 12-5, and the Cardinals were 11-6, if I'm not mistaken. They could have.
Yep,
could have been
correct. You're 100% correct.
This is a big game for. I mean, they're all big. I don't know why they're all big. I mean, this is a division game. It's a big deal. These Cardinals got them this year early. I think 37-20.
They did.
Week 4, and I'm just going based off what I saw. And I mean, I know that Russell Wilson upset the Cardinals last week. I thought that was going to happen. I really did. I also thought the Rams were going to win last week. That didn't happen. I think this Cardinals team is going to come into LA, upset this, this Super Bowl poised team. I really do. I think Kyler Murray is going to find a way to explode. And it's hard for me to say it because, like, when I think about the defensive side of the ball, the offensive side of the ball, I'm like, there's no way. But I'm just like, I think J.J. Watt's back.
Yep.
I mean,
I was about to bring that up.
I don't know if
he's activated off IR. He found a way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I think if anything, that's just going to juice guys up. Is D-Hop back? Is DeAndre Hopkins back?
I'm checking right now. I think so. I mean, he's not listed on the injury report. So
a big deal if he's somehow back. And you're going to need a big game from AJ Green. For Zach Ertz to go on this run. I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch. Yeah. I just somehow, some way, the Cardinals get this upset.
Dude, I hate to say it, like, I was shaking my head because I'm absolutely in the same mindset. I just think Cardinals find a way. I think the difference is I like Kyler Murray's quarterback play better than Matthew Stafford. The last 3 weeks, Matthew Stafford has not been impressive. They've been a better team. They've been team wins, but I need to see Matt Stafford have that statement playoff game of not throwing more than one interception, having 3 touchdowns, really just orchestrating the offense and, it running through him instead of, oh, the defense is going to bail us out and I'm going to rely on the run game and I'm going to rely on Cooper Kupp to just be, I don't know, put that whole damn team on his back, which that is an X factor. I think if Cooper Kupp has an insane game, you're looking at the Rams win here, but then I look at J.J. Watt coming off IR, and that's huge. Like,
yeah.
Even if he has just like 2 QB pressures, not even a lot, just a few crucial snaps for pass rush, big third downs, like that really could be the difference maker. It's going to be a game of turnovers.
For someone that's not a quarterback in Matthew Stafford, that's going to be tough when you've got extra pass rush coming at you. So agree with Cooper Kupp as well. Like, obviously he led in all categories wide receiver. So that's a huge, they're going to have to dial up a game plan to at least, you're not going to stop him. You just have to, keep him, contain him, control him a little bit. Yep. But I just think Kyler Murray's going to go out there and I think he's going to be very flashy with his legs. And I think he's going to, this is like, I think we talked about them making it a year ago and they came up short and now they're here and they started off as the hottest team in football.
Yeah.
We kind of forgot about them. We forgot that this team was 8-0, 9-0 at one point.
Yep. And
still in the playoffs. They're still relevant. Out for a couple weeks. He's back. He's healthy. They're getting guys back. They just, both teams kind of got a punch in the mouth, but
yeah. But it could be anyone's ball game.
This is probably the biggest coin flip of all, I think. For me.
Completely agree. No, same. Right back at you.
So, but it's the Monday night special, I think, too, which I love that on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Love it. Big fan. The last thing that I have to add to this game is apparently the Rams signed old Eric Weddle.
I did see that. Yeah.
That's crazy to me because he hasn't played in over a year. Last team he played for was Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken. Or was the Rams his last stop?
I think the Rams was his last stop, but that was in 2019. So
yeah, he's been I don't know.
37 years old, which I don't know, like as a safety who's 37 and you've been, I mean, I don't know, I'm sure he's kept himself in shape, but like you're talking football shape and you're just going to expect to come in. I mean, maybe they're using him as more of a depth player, but I don't think it scares me. I mean, it's not something that I'm like, oh my God, like if I'm the Cardinals, I'm not gonna be like, oh geez, like look, it's Eric Weddle.
Eric Weddle
could prove me wrong, but I just, when you're out of it for a year and you're 37 years old, it's kind of hard to be extremely effective at 37 years old. And if D-Hop does come back, like gosh, I don't care what
That
safety.
is pretty old for a safety. Like 37?
37 years old, and you're telling me you're gonna go run with D Hop and even AJ Green, like, and they do have and that kid Moore. Like,
I mean, to be fair, he did make a Pro Bowl in 2018. So
that's yeah.
I mean,
Granted,
that is something.
Full football shape, and what, he was 35 then. I mean, when you get to that level, like, I feel like the years, especially at that position, when you're playing that level at that position, like, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
What safety? Yeah, I mean, there aren't many safeties that play that long. I mean,
Nope. Wait, let's see. So no, he did play for the Rams last. You are right.
in 2019,
Yeah, in 2019. That's so crazy.
it is wild.
But yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be a huge difference maker. That's definitely just a name that jumps across the board for me for sure. But at the same time, like I don't know. I guess we'll see. That's pretty nuts. I mean, even you somehow just use him like, I don't know, just as a decoy, like for rushing the passer or something like that. Like, you never know. But hey, good for them. Good to see him back out here. That's all I got to say about that. Should we move on to best bets?
Let's knock it up, brother.
All right. So I'm going to give you my cannot lose teaser of Wildcard weekend. You ready? Stay on the edge of your seats. Okay. Bills +2. I think Bills are going to win anyway, so this is free bet, whatever. Bucks -2.5. I think that's great because then you're asking just Bucks to win by a field goal. That's awesome. I think that's very realistic. Bengals Raiders over 42.5. Bengals can put up points. Raiders found a way to put up points against a subpar Chargers defense, but I think that's realistic, barring weather. 49ers Cowboys over 44.5. Dak was passing, what did he have, 5 touchdowns last week? Something insane like that. Niners find a way to put up points like Jimmy G or everyone else or otherwise. And then Cardinals Rams over 43. That's my can't lose teaser.
I like it. I like it.
4-1 odds. And then my other best bets, I'm taking the Bills -4 all day. I think we got the Pats number. I think we play better in the colder weather. Everything's going through Josh Allen. Defense is playing great. The run game is the huge difference here. And I think that's our key to success. That and just limiting turnovers. And we're going to make Mac Jones beat us with his arm. And I don't think he can do it because you look at his passing completion, it's like after 10 yards, it just drops off. He does not push the ball. He takes what the defense gives you. He loves the easy unders. He does not stretch the field. And then I'm going to take Bills team total over 24.5. We're averaging about 30 points a game. And I know what you're thinking. Cold weather, it's tough. And these stats are old. I'll admit it. But the last 3 games that the Bills played in cold weather, I think it was like 0 degrees, 9 degrees, like 19. They went over that all 3 times. So cold weather, I don't think affects them as much as we think.
It's not even so much the cold weather. It's so much as it's another division playoff game. It just seems like a lot of points for a division playoff game.
They put up that last time.
It's playoffs.
I know it's Yoffs.
Scares me a little.
But I'm just saying, we put up 33 against the Patriots last time, 29 against the Falcons, 27 against the Jets.
23.
I got them at 24.5, and that's at plus money. That's at plus 112.
24.5. See, I could feel like their total being like 21 or 24. That's why it scares me. But I mean, it could very well be like 24 seems like the cap, where I think like 24-17 or 24 to like 13. Like that's what I kind of see the score being. So that's why I get a little.
I think the big difference is just like our defense is just going to bully the heck out of Mac Jones, and Mac Jones doesn't have the athleticism or strength like Josh does to get out of situations when his offensive line is beat. Like I think we have too much depth at the pass rusher position. It's going to give him problems all day. Our secondary is lights out. So I don't know. Jones going to really have to fit the ball into some tight windows, into tight coverage. I think as long as we just maintain the run, then I think we're fine. And Josh just doesn't make mistakes. So quick shout out to Joel. I don't know if he'll listen this far in the pod, but yeah, he commented like 2 weeks ago or our last video about like what's Josh Allen doing, or Josh Allen needs to get it together. And Yeah, I'm not hearing that from a Philly fan. Straight up.
We got some beef?
Nah, I'm sure it's fine. That's just like name the last time Philly had a good quarterback. I mean, we're gonna have to go back to Mike Vick. We're gonna have to go back to Donovan McNabb. And don't get me wrong, Bills don't have the best. Before Josh Allen, he had to go all the way back to Jim Kelly. Like, but I'm just saying, like, Josh ain't a problem anytime, any day. This guy is a top 3 quarterback in the league, you know. And once Aaron Rodgers retires, he's going to go to the top 2 easy, you know, potentially number 1 because Pat Mahomes is not look good the first half of the season. So I'm just saying, like, I don't stand for Josh Allen slander. But so those are my best bets. You should ride because it's the Bills by $1 billion all day. You got any best bets, Holden?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Raiders plus the 5.5.
Ooh, I do like that.
I'm also going to take the Steelers plus the 12.5.
I like that too. I might throw a little sprinkle on there.
Also going to take the Cardinals plus 4. Those are taking the points on all those because I think that's a lot of points in these matchups. And then I like throwing in a touchdown score. I'm trying to go through them. Who's getting into the end zone this week? It's got to be James Conner, right? He's a touchdown machine. He had 2 last week. It's got to be him. Problem is, it might be at something too aggressive to take.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, this is the playoffs, so you know it's very hard to call somebody's number in the playoffs sometimes. But I just think that guy just has a nose for the end zone. And,
he does, but against Aaron Donald,
oh, he caught a passing touchdown last week too. So I don't know.
That's true. He's versatile.
So I'm gonna go with James Conner this week to sneak in the end zone.
Okay.
Why the Cardinals upset the Rams and move on?
I love that. Love those picks. Definitely gonna ride you on those. I love that. Great stuff. Well, that wraps it up for our first postseason episode. Ho 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 ho. Holden.
Yeah, dude. The episodes are gonna get progressively shorter as we have less games to talk about. We'll have to just, we'll do some. We'll finish it out strong, and then we'll have our final Super Bowl one, and then we'll be on a hiatus for a little bit until maybe the draft season, and then maybe we'll do some free agency stuff. We'll see, and get pumped for season 2, I guess. I don't know.
Season 2, baby. Yeah. Like you said, I think we're only gonna talk on stuff that's not playoff related unless it's like news. So like head coaching firings, that kind of thing, free agent moves, trades, what have you. But on the other side of that, it's just Yoffs from here on out. Sorry. But I'm excited. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for watching. We love you guys. Hope you win all your bets. Once again, my name's Sean, and I love those Bills.
I'm Holden. Unfortunately, I do love Washington.
Hey,
whatever.
You'll get there. And be on the lookout for hats. Hats will be coming soon or whatever. If you want a hat, if you want merch, comment, give me that hat, no cap. No cap. If you give me that hat, no cap. If you want some merch, we'll get some more printed, we'll get you some prices, so you can partially buy us wherever you're at. Love you guys. Bills make me want to shout.